The prevalence of destructive or self-limiting diets is a problem. It's perfectly legal to do something like publish a book that gives advice about dieting, even though it goes against all the evidence that we have about what it takes to maintain a healthy diet successfully. Yet this is totally normal, and it's part of what's considered or what's been called diet culture. Why? I believe it's partly because people like me need to do their job better. The anti-diet space, and this includes me, so before you get mad, I'm calling myself out here too. The anti-diet space needs to do a better job. So let me explain what I mean by that and fill you in on how I'm going to help. This is all centered around one really important idea, that we can only make diet culture go away. We can only fight diet culture properly when we're able to offer something better, when we're able to offer something that speaks more to people's values than what the diet industry currently does or is. Right now, at this point in time, the diet industry is doing a much better job at understanding and speaking to people's values than the anti-diet space or even the health at every size movement. A huge mistake that the anti-diet and health at every size space makes is giving the impression in a lot of ways, not all the time, but in a lot of ways, that the desire to change the size and shape of our bodies is categorically bad all the time, and it's not something that should ever even be entertained as an idea. And that falls apart the moment we meet someone who's done it successfully and has experienced an increase in their quality of life as a result. And these people exist. We can't say that all diets fail and that losing weight or changing the size and shape of our body is never a good idea, because there are 100% people out there who will put up their hands and say, yeah, I did it. It took a while and it was challenging, but it's a journey that I went on and I feel better. So this binary situation of being anti-diet, hardcore anti-weight loss, or way down the rabbit hole of endorsing like unhelpful diets and putting the idea of being a certain weight and shape on this huge pedestal, that being on the other end of the scale, we need to be able to exist more in the middle. Because right now, every week, someone comes to me having experienced this. Nick, how are you feeling these days around food, your body? Good. Definitely calmer. That's really good. Yeah. How's eating more intuitively feeling? You know, letting go of some of those rules. Changed my life. You know, I'm going out to dinner with my wife. I'm enjoying social occasions. I'm more relaxed. That's great to hear. I do have some questions, if that's alright. Oh, I know we've put in a lot of work here. I feel like I'm in a much better place. Yeah. I'm just wondering about weight loss. What? I'm wondering what it might be like to revisit the idea of weight loss from a more stable place. No! I just had some questions about... Never mind, I shouldn't have said anything. It's wrong to even think about it. I'm glad we had this talk. Thank you. And when this happens, when we get super evangelical about anti-diet, things start to go wrong, because it means that the well-informed, intelligent, caring, ethical human beings and professionals who would be qualified to talk about this stuff and could offer some of the most helpful perspectives aren't the ones having these conversations. So when these people aren't willing to talk about weight loss, aren't willing to talk about what's really involved in things like changing the size and shape of our body, it leaves that space open to be dominated by money-grabbing scam artists who do not care about their clients. And I've been really afraid to talk about things like weight loss in more detail and to address that subject more directly because of my affiliation with the anti-diet space, because I don't want to be ripped to shreds by health at every size warriors. And you know what? That has to stop. Also, this is where you can tell that I film my videos using natural light, because the sun has just come out and everything has changed. So bear with me, this is not a film studio, this is my office. But yeah, I've been quite concerned about speaking what I believe to be my whole truth about this journey for quite a while, because I've been afraid to be pulled apart, burned alive by people calling themselves anti-diet or health at every size warriors. And this speaks to the degree of tribalism in the diet anti-diet space. And there is nothing helpful about that. We're existing in this situation where you have to choose a side and fight for that side at the expense of the opposing side. This doesn't help anyone. It makes the people who believe what they believe harder in the things they already believe in, and it makes the people on the other side of the discussion hate you. Nobody is helped. So we need more people with the right kind of experience in the middle of these conversations. People who are well informed and able to say that no topic is off limits. So that when the topic of weight loss comes up, even if we are talking about things like struggles with food, I'm not going to say the names of these particular conditions because YouTube will, limit the reach of this video. But even when we're talking about situations where we may have struggled with food, struggled with body image, where things have been a real problem for a while, we can acknowledge that for some people, yes, it's possible to change the size and shape of our bodies. No, it's not going to happen quickly. Yes, it's probably way more complex than anyone calling themselves a weight loss or body transformation expert would have you believe. No, that doesn't mean it's dangerous for everyone. Yes, there are situations where trying to lose weight is an extremely dangerous and bad idea. No, that doesn't mean that in those situations there aren't a bunch of extremely helpful and important and valuable things that we can do for your health and fitness. Yes, weight loss medications are becoming more prevalent. No, they're not a good idea for everyone. Yes, some people will abuse them. No, they're not going to go away. Now, before I go on, this platform is not about to become filled with body transformation photos and a whole bunch of other really unhelpful shit. That's not what's happening here. I don't call myself a weight loss coach or a transformation coach, and I don't talk about the weight-based results that people have experienced while working with me. But that's just because I don't want to reinforce the idea that weight is the most important thing. I've worked with a bunch of people who've put in the work to stabilize their relationship with food and have gone on to explore weight loss in our work together. I've also worked with people who've gone on very personal journeys with their relationship with food and body weight and shape and everything, have found a lot of peace and a new degree of fulfillment and meaning and a new life for themselves, and have decided from that place, you know what? Now I don't need the weight loss. I'm good. And that's awesome. Everyone is unique, and we need to embrace that rather than expect people to conform, to choose a side and start demonizing people who don't feel or experience the same things. For an unfortunate number of professionals out there in the fitness, health, wellness space, whatever, the most important thing is the transformation photo, because that transformation photo is what's going to get them more business. What happens after that transformation photo is taken? So this is one of the reasons you don't see me in my content with my shirt off all the time. You don't see me posting transformation photos. That might work well from a sales perspective, but it definitely doesn't work as well in terms of your long-term health and outcomes. Like, first thing a lot of people do in the diet and weight loss space when they get a new client is weigh people. I don't do that. I ask for a little bit more faith from the people I work with, and instead we start working on skills, stress management, recovery, effective training and exercise, stable habits with food. We don't need to be looking at the scales to get an idea of how well these things are going and what obstacles we're facing. It's much more helpful to gauge our progress by how well we're engaging with these habits and skills and how consistently we can perform them than looking at the scales and going, oh fuck, nothing good happened this week. You can stare at the scales and experience nothing good happening, often a lot of bad things happening. But it's pretty difficult to be focusing on the skills you're developing and being present with what you're actually practicing without some good things happening. There's a reason why most of my certifications are in stress management and recovery. In the 15 plus years that I've been in the nutrition and fitness industry, what I realized at least was most people don't need me to tell them specifically what foods to eat. More often than not, we have a pretty basic idea of, what's going to make us feel good and what's not. The bigger challenge is dealing with the things that get in the way of us making the choices that we need to make. The stresses in our lives, energy levels, communication. A really nice piece of feedback I got from a client who wrapped up their work with me a few weeks ago was that they were really surprised about what we actually worked on. They came to me expecting me to talk just about food, when really we worked on a whole bunch of really essential skill development for life around food, which not only had an unbelievable carryover effect into this person's relationship with food and how confident they felt making decisions with food, the rest of their life was improved as well. This doesn't happen when we go down the diet culture route and just obsess over calories and measurements and the weight on the scale. And I'm kind of getting sidetracked, but the most important thing here, the thing that I would really want you to know, is that if weight loss and the size and shape of your body is on your mind, you can talk to me about that. Just because I speak about things that are aligned with, the anti-diet space and disordered eating and whatever else, that doesn't mean that I'm not open to conversations about weight loss, body size and shape, and what you can do to have as much autonomy as possible with your own appearance. The problem comes when there's a lot of misinformation around things like dieting, and when there is the overvaluation of weight and shape. The key is in the name there, overvaluation of weight and shape. It's not that we shouldn't care at all, is that problems arise when the lion's share of our identity hinges on our body weight and shape. Again, the overvaluation, that becomes a problem. Also, when things like anxiety and fear and other things start to get tied into that and it becomes very messy, that's a problem. Simply being somewhat invested in your physical appearance, that's human. So the best thing I believe that we can do to combat diet culture is embrace this. To stop this idea of diet culture versus anti-diet and get rid of that whole cult-like behavior surrounding all of it. This is not an us versus them scenario. We're all just people on our own journeys trying to make the best possible decisions, trying to find our way to some kind of fulfillment, meaning, and happiness. So I hope this was helpful. Remember, if you want more info straight to your inbox, I deliver free emails every week. They're full of stuff that might not appear on the YouTube channel or the podcast. Stay tuned for the next video. There are podcast episodes as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.